find a song, you turn it up, you let it get all goosey inside, and you make shit happen.
Yeah, I love it.
You know why,
You're,
Gretchen?
You're reading it.
Because you're never going to get this day back.
Oh, wow.
Right? This day, this 24 hours, we're never going to get it back.
Drake just got a whole lot deeper.
When you think about it that way, you maximize that shit. You'll never get it back. That's all you got.
When this turns on, there's a video of a guy that is on YouTube, and he heard this jam, and his son's eating cereal in the car, and he just starts jamming out, smashes the cereal. It's what I want to do when I hear this song.
It's so good.
It's when your jam plays.
Gretchen Dusseau, welcome to the Keri Croft Show.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this moment.
I'm excited to be here.
For a very long. I'm excited to have you here. You have no idea.
I want one of these mixers. I want
you can do
microphones.
You can do it. Put your back into it. If I can do this, if I can climb this technical hurdle, you most certainly can climb this technical hurdle.
And I watch you playing music and mixing things, and it just looks like a good time.
It is. It's a really good time, and it's a better time having you here.
Thank you. Cool.
So 10 years in this business marriage that we've had together. It feels like it's gone in the blink of an eye.
It has.
In some ways.
I feel like that's a good thing.
Oh, time flies when you're having fun.
Because I feel like my other marriage feels like it hasn't been, it doesn't feel like I've been married for 15 years, and it doesn't feel like we've been married for 10.
It's wild, right?
It is.
Jump Street from Delashment, our heart has always been, what is your system of strength? It hasn't really been necessarily just about the workout. The workout's very good. It's very important. It's holistic. I would put it up against anything out there.
Yeah.
But it's really, what is your system of strength, and how do you keep moving through life's, inevitable challenges?
Yeah, I will say we've always believed in that, which is kind of it's kind of funny that we didn't just think of that later on as a scheme, or this is a great marketing angle. It's in our soul.
It's in there. It's just right. It connects us.
It does.
So what do you think of when you transport yourself back to that alley where it's try to find us, and we're right behind McDonald's. It's in this glorified storage unit, 4 walls, no frills.
It didn't even seem like a street. It was a street, but it was just like a parking lot. So.
But what comes to mind? What story or memory kind of pops up at you from those times?
Well, putting it together is a ton of memories, because it's you and I were painting one day. You're in a leopard dress.
I was in my business suit. Leopard dress. We'll tell that story. That's a good story.
The leopard dress is a great one. But yeah, you were in a business suit. You're right, heels. And I was sitting there with my dad. My dad helped me paint a little bit that day.
Krager. Thanks, Krager.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. By help, I mean he did it for 10 minutes.
Gretchen.
Yeah, let me talk to you, entertain you. So, which I would have taken. And I remember we're painting the floors. We're painting. I mean, we rented air. What are those paint? What is that thing? What is that called? A paint sprayer.
I think
We had full head to toe outfits on. I mean, I just remember so badly being I want someone else to do this, but we couldn't afford to do it.
That's the story of our life.
I know. Who else can do this for us for free?
Well, so I know when we just put that post out, the 10-year post, and we were talking about you and me in the parking lot, and we were throwing the lease back and forth, and no, you sign it, you sign it. And, it is for people out there who are listening, if they're looking to start something, or if they're in the middle of something, maybe it's not a business, but they're scared or they're unsure. It's it always seems scary at the time. That's the way life designs things. It's resistance, it's fear. You look back on that, the rent was literally so cheap. Yeah. The term was it was 12 months, and we were shatting ourselves, but it always seems too hard at the time and too scary at the time.
But I think anything amazing I've done in my life, I've done it, and the feelings were scary and excied.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not having those two blended feelings, then I don't think you're going big enough.
So speaking of the lease, I will never forget the day that you called me, you were at the grocery. I was sitting in my office. I remember what I was wearing. It was such a moment of panic and oh my God, our whole world is crashing down. Oh, yeah. I was wearing J. Crew, like ratty V-neck t-shirt, shorts. My hair's, I'm a mess per usual. And you're like, we just got an email from the leasing guy. Remember that sawed off little guy? I don't remember him, but his name
was Stu or something.
Well, anyway, he wrote us this very lawyerly email, put about 3 or 4 legalese words that he threw in, like, hear ye, you are no longer allowed to have this space. We're no longer interested, remember?
Yeah.
And
I was at World
You were
Market.
panicking. I freaked the fuck out. And so then all of a sudden I was like, give me a minute. I'm going to call you back. I remember going up to my closet. It was a red dress. It was a red dress from Express. I don't even know why. It was a sexy slut dress. I never wore it. I put it on. I had this little leather belt. Yeah. Put that on. I put on my fucking pumps, and
were your pumps leopard? Why do I
No,
remember
the leopard print belt.
Okay, thank you.
And I threw some lipstick on. It was like putting hubcaps on a Yugo. I mean, I was sweaty, dirty, nasty. Just throw some lipstick on. Pulled my hair back, and I went to Rainbow Realty, which is right there at the corner of King and De La Schmidt. The building looks yellow. It looks like if you would touch it, it's soft and it's gonna fall down.
Yeah.
Because we're like, who's the landlord? His name is Skip. He's behind a curtain. We couldn't get to him. I'm like, I'll be damned if this little realtor who he didn't want us to sign the deal because it was only 12 months.
Yeah, you're right.
And as a salesperson, I'm like, okay, he doesn't want a 12-month deal because it's gonna, affect his commissions. So I go in the Rainbow Realty. I will never forget walking in. It was like it had lost itself in the early 80s. Like everything about it was literally like yellowy and soft and kind of weird. So I come sashaying in there and I see this woman who looks like she's been sitting at the desk since Nam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, excuse me, hi, what's your name? Her name was Rusty. She was lovely.
Rusty's a great
And so I played the Aaron Brockovich thing and I'm like, I'm Keri Croft and we are in negotiations across the way here and we seem to have a bit of an issue. And so my perspective and the way I like to handle things is I like to seek to understand first, then to be understood. And so what I'm understanding is that you guys don't want to have us in this spot because of the parking and et cetera. However, there happens to be another place right here across the road, the roadway, Ronan, that has the same exact situation. They have the same traffic. And so I don't want to say, I don't want to use words like discrimination unless I have to. So what I'd love to have happen is if Skip could give me a little call on my cell phone, that'd be great. And she's looking at me like, first of all, she hasn't seen anyone come into this building for years. She's just startled. And so I give her my cell phone number and I just like sashay out, go home. And then Skip called me. And then we had that, we built rapport and we had a great relationship and we signed the lease.
Only you could have done that. I would have gotten too emotional.
Yeah, well, I think it's for me, what I do in life all the time. If you tell me no, or if there's a challenge, there's nothing that will get me my adrenaline going more or get me jacked up than that. This little commercial realtor that was like, excuse me, ladies. I was like, oh, you will not stop. And that's kind of the can't, won't, don't stop.
Yeah.
When we did that shirt,
yeah.
you just can't stop because of things like that. The obstacle is the way. Had we stopped and crumbled, who knows?
Well, and that's where we are a good balance. Because, if that was me going in there, I'm just a boiling pot of an emotion. And so if it goes one way or the other, I'm going in there and I'm flipping Rusty's table or I'm crying. And I'm like, and she won't understand me either way. So you came in there with your legal jargon.
Sachet?
Yeah.
Shante.
And I would have just gone in and been like, Rusty!
Damn you!
Skip! I will cry or I will flip something right now.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Well, Skip, and if you're out there, Skip, I have about 6 followers, so who knows if this will even make it to Skip's virgin ears, but
Rusty's
we love you.
listening.
And I will never forget the time when I called Skip about the tile in the bathroom and he had it with us. He goes, Keri, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a fuck. And he hung up. He hung up on me and I was like, God, I love that guy. He's a loose cannon, but I love him. Yeah.
Landlord. Mm-hmm. Landlord at his best.
Yeah. So we made it at De La Schmidt less than I feel like 2 years. It was, then we were bubbling out of there.
Yeah. They were getting mad at like we were taking up too much parking.
Yes, it was just too much.
People were starting to like do their workouts in the street.
Yeah. So then we shimmied on over to Fifth Avenue where we've held residence. It was a broke down liquor store, and we walked in, and Scott, love you, Scott, he's the landlord over there. Ladies, I mean, this is going to just take a lot of, I'm like, Scott, no, we don't need that guy. We need the guy that's going to say, yes, you can bust the ceiling out. Yes, it's going to look amazing. Like, get out of the way with that. So we redid that space, and it's just been...
That's an amazing space, actually.
Oh, it's because it's just gritty enough.
Yeah.
And it's just, and we still have the state liquor sign on the back. And I remember Brett Hatcher, he said something to me once like, hey, are you guys ever going to take that sign down? It's kind of like, no, Brett.
No, that's a nostalgic moment.
We're going to leave it until we're out of there, and then I'm going to take it. And I'm going to fight Gretchen for it.
Well, I'll fight you. Well, because we have another sign in Clintonville. It was the old Kroger.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll take one. And
it was
you take
also
one.
the book, what is it? Book to... Cover books?
The Book Loft or something. Half price, or I don't remember. The
it
Book
was
Loft,
like,
maybe.
No, cover books or cover to cover, maybe.
Oh, cover to cover.
Something like that.
Yeah. So we moved to Fifth Avenue, and that has served as sort of a home, I think, for a lot of clients, trainers. There's been so much that's happened in those walls. If those walls could talk, it would be amazing.
Well, for a while, it was funny because we opened up and there would be a couple people coming in thinking it was still a liquor store. Like on Saturday game days, Ohio State game days. And they'd just walk in and they'd be staring at us like, what the hell did I just walk into? Where is my liquor? And then you had, because the back door has a bell.
Yeah.
Like, and so because it was, they have to, if the truckers come to drop all the liquor, like they get a ring. Does that bell still work? I haven't checked.
I don't know.
Checked in a while. But remember one time you were teaching in the back and somebody's ringing the bell.
Ordering a pizza.
And it was delivering a pizza delivery. And you're like, I swear it, nobody here. But he kept ringing the bell, the pizza delivery man.
Yeah.
That was pretty. There is some amazing stories there.
No, it's good. Okay, so let's take a question from someone. I know the one that's just that came through my phone from Cincinnati. From a client. She loves High and Tight. And she said, have we ever thought of creating any other classes in the system? And then she said, from someone who loves High and Tight in Cincinnati. I don't know her name, but.
So that's funny because I just left a High and Tight class and I was just talking to a couple clients about how, because on the digital studio, we are more creative because it's easier to be creative, to just do it with one person and like, different time frames. We mix it up a little bit. But the most popular classes on the digital studio are when we merge two classes together. Mm-hmm. And so I really would love, and I think a lot of other people would love, to merge, not do a whole new class, but to merge maybe like a High and Tight and a Control.
I would love that.
A High and Tight and an Ebb and Flow. We actually just did that. We'll do that sometimes for specialty classes. Darcy just did that for New Year's Day. And it was really popular. But I think that's really what Flex and Flow was once, and I do think we could merge a couple of classes. I think that, Control R&R, it would be, what would be your favorite pairing?
Well, first of all, I would love to do a Control in the Heat.
Me too.
And then my ideal would be Control in the Heat with like a 15-minute High and Tight finisher on the back end.
Yeah.
So like whether it would be like a glute blast or something super focused and dialed in after you did the heavy weights, just kind of finishing it off.
No, I agree. I think that, those two combined, like High and Tight and Control, it would be amazing. Mm-hmm. That's a good, I would, or of course, I would like an hour and 15, 45 and 45.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
I was just checking my math, if I did that correctly.
Let me look and see.
I have a question for you while you're looking for another question.
Well, that's a good one.
What are some of the worst, what do you think some of our bad choices were? Like where we had to correct it and just say where we had to take it back and be like, that was a bad choice.
Well, you're always going to have, regardless of how good you are at hiring people, you're always going to have some that slip through the cracks.
Of course.
And we've had I would say a really great track record of great people. I mean, it's probably been 85 to 90%.
People are always astounded with our retention. Yeah.
But I would say when you get the certain people who are like, one of these people here are not quite like the others.
Yes.
And then I feel like we would have a harder time losing them. Like they would eventually go on their own, but that's always an issue when you're like, gosh, like, oh, that's not really the,
when
it's not really the vibe. You know, I think that would be an overarching one that I feel like you always have to look out for. You're going to make choices sometimes with people that you may regret.
I think that's anybody, like any business.
What about
really.
you?
Mine is like, I mean, we've tried some shit that like, but I love being creative and trying. So, but remember, I'm going to blame this on you, actually.
Let's get it.
This is the crazy. This is your peak crazy, I think. You wanted all classes to be an hour and 15.
Oh, yeah.
And I went with it because I like crazy too. And there was a ton of like, people were like, I mean, they were leaving anyway at like, you know, at an hour.
I did that at Bally's
That's
too.
what you kept saying. You're like, I pushed it at Bally's.
And it worked.
You know what? People can stay around for another 15. I've got other shit to get.
See, now, you're right. But I'm surprised you didn't like that because you're nuts.
I did. It was one that like people didn't like. And then the vice versa happened. And we tried to pull like, because people are more scared of clocked. And I think a lot of times people, it's just the rumor alone of clocked. Clocked isn't as scary as it really is. And it's even scary in my head and your head. We've created this.
Clocked is a little bitch.
We've created this scary little beast
She's
in our
naughty.
head. Yeah, it's got a reputation with it, which is scary too. So, but like a lot of times I'm more scared just to enter clocked than I am like when I'm leaving.
Oh, for sure.
You know, where I'm like, why do I keep telling myself it's as bad as it is? But we tried to take it to 45 minutes because we're like, okay, well, maybe.
Clocked you could do for 45 minutes.
Well, that's what I think so too to this day. But people like the clocked lovers out there really threw their hands up at us. And
the one thing I've learned, and I think you'll agree with this, is when you are doing anything, but when you're running a small business, you will not please everyone.
Of course.
And that's what's so challenging because for every person who's going to say 45 minutes, you're going to have people who are saying, keep it 60 minutes. So you have to really think about these decisions and the impact that it has on sort of the masses versus these one or two people that are kind of in your ear.
Yes, agreed. And that's where, I mean, it's hard to find like, because sometimes the one or two people that are in your ear are the loudest people. And so you think it's the majority. Yeah. So we've learned to like just make sure we're tapping into more people.
The misconception though about the whole system in general, and I think clocked specifically, is even though clocked is a naughty little pet. Yeah. And every time I do clocked, I have to take it into 15-minute increments or it's mentally just too something for me. So I just look, I'm like, okay, got 15 minutes, first quarter, second quarter. The fact that we have the levels, and every move has 3 levels, and so it is very approachable. I can go in there and do clocked and barely jump. So when people say, you know, I can't do clocked because I'm too old, or I can't do clocked because of X, Y, and Z. Now, mind you, you may have an injury that prohibits you from doing that type of workout. I understand. But for the most part, clocked is a very approachable workout, and you can do some pretty low impact stuff during clock. So it's really 100%. Clocked gets a bad rap, you know, it gets a hard rap.
It does. And I definitely pay attention to what I'm doing. If my body's not ready to tuck jump, I'm not going to tuck jump. It could be the entire class. I'm not going to tuck jump. Yeah. And then there could be another round of like another day where I'm like, I'm feeling it today. But like, I absolutely pay attention to my body. And I do think like it's a mental thing. You have to be okay with going to a level 2. But I always tell people, if we're not pushing you to a level 2, then we haven't done our job. You will always get pushed to another level, like because the workouts should be hard enough to not make it easy on you.
Yeah. So that actually is a good segue for this other question that somebody asked. So how do you evolve with SOS as you age? And she's saying that she's the oldest person in the room and all of that. And I think it goes back to, first of all, your mindset, right? You think, therefore you are. And this is where I can't, and as I get older, the more people I'm around that are talking about their age and how old they are, okay, the more you manifest that you think, therefore you are. If I'm going to sit here and think about how old I am and how broke down and rusty and crusty I am, well, that's going to become who I am. So that's number one.
I get very fired up about this. Well,
it's because it really does. It's bonkers to me. Like, I am badass, hear me roar.
Yeah.
I don't care what age. It may look different at 60, at 70, but be damned. You're not putting me out to pasture.
100%.
I don't want to hear about it, you know?
I just literally went off about this last night to my husband, and I don't even know why. I thought he didn't say anything, but it's so my passion boils for it because it's a number.
It is a number.
And if your mindset is, if you've said, oh, well, that could be anything. That could be me saying, and you saying, oh, we've had babies now. So, it is what it is. What does that mean? Like, yes, you've had babies. Like, does that mean you can't work out anymore? Does that mean your body's done? It doesn't mean that. It might look different. It might feel different. It might react different, but that doesn't mean you are retiring yourself and giving up and saying, oh, I'm just done. I'm throwing in the towel.
Yeah. And back to this woman's question, it's a great question because while we say this, there is a side of this, and some of you might be saying, well, come on, guys, like when you age, you have to treat your body differently. Don't be blind. We get that. So what I would say to someone who is in the older demographic at SOS, which, by the way, man, I fucking love that demographic. They're just badasses. I can just think of a couple in my head right now that I'm like, I want to be you. You're amazing.
I think the older you are at SOS, the harder you work.
Yes.
Because you appreciate what it's doing more and you appreciate your time a little bit more.
But what I would say to someone asking that question is listen to your body.
Yeah.
And make adjustments. So if clocked isn't serving you, and let's say it does feel too much for your body, maybe lean a little bit more on control. Make sure you're doing ebb and flow. If you're not doing yoga, I will give you a plug here. I'm not good at yoga. No, that's not the reason why you do yoga. You do yoga because you want to hydrate your body. You want to hydrate your muscles. You want to stretch, and you're complementing things that you're doing with strength and otherwise. So maybe add in a little bit more ebb and flow, high and tight. If there's a class in the system that you just don't do, maybe peek over the corner and try that class.
The course there is a portion of the course that you can, and I always, the warm-up time is the hardest part, we always say. But the course is really just strength and motion, and it's an amazing cardio. It's my favorite cardio to get. Why I say favorite, but it's hard as hell. But I love strength in motion to be breathless. That's my favorite kind of cardio to get. You can get an amazing caloric burn and be very breathless and get that cardio you need even in our control class. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. There's so many ways, and the whole system itself is, adaptable. And Keri and I alone have adapted our own bodies for everything we've done. I mean, I've sprained an ankle, I've broken a foot, I've had an old shoulder injury from sports come back and haunt me, and I've been pregnant, been postpartum pregnant, all these things. It truly, tonsils out just recently. I came back from tonsils out and I could barely eat for 3 weeks and I had no strength left. And I was very pissed at myself and watching my strength be, zero, it felt like. But it didn't mean I wasn't showing up, and just trying. I always tell people, no matter, so to me, it's not just age, it's what the situation of your life that you're going through, because our bodies go through down highs and lows. So does health. And so age is part of that. And to me, I always tell the classes, show up with the strength that you have for that day. So if you lost a lot of sleep the night before, if you're stressed, if you didn't eat well, if you just got off of being ill, whatever strength you showed up with that day, do the best you can with it. Mm-hmm. We could really, let's just make this a 5-hour podcast, because we could just really go off on all of this.
It's really true though. And it's, so yesterday I put that post out, very vulnerable post for me. My anxiety was in a place that I don't even think I remember being in before that post came out.
Yeah.
My heart, I was in class and I felt like my heart was going to just leave my chest. And I just, it was really hard. But I bring that up because, age, circumstances in life, whatever, there's always going to be a reason that you can tell yourself it's okay to stop being kind to yourself, to stop moving, to kind of just give up on yourself.
Yes.
And, for me, what I wrote in that post about my body was so wrecked, forget the emotional. The emotional is a whole nother set of things over here. But from a physical perspective, it would have been so easy for me just to give up at that moment, because first of all, you're emotionally in just this horrible space. So to continue to try to keep moving forward. But I will tell you, this place, what we've built together, the keep moving mindset, it literally was in my head. And I'm not kidding when I said it was a trusted friend to me. I would walk and it felt like my body was just in so much pain. And I felt like I had lead on my feet, but I'm like, Keri, hey, you're in there.
Yeah.
And it was this little whisper. And I know what it is. It's my badass, right? And it's like, hey, psst, I'm still here. I'm tucked away and I'm tiny, but it's up to you to make sure you get me back.
Yeah.
And so I would walk that, where the cornfields are there before you go to the stadium. And I would just literally watch my feet.
One foot after the other.
Oh, and then you know what? It comes back.
Yeah.
But not without a fight. It comes back.
Yeah.
But you have to always just remember, you have a badass in here.
Yeah.
And you cannot forsake it. You owe that to you. You owe it to, my 3 girls. You owe it to your kid, Dane. Everybody in your life, you owe it while you walk on this earth. And you're not here long.
Yeah.
And so I think you just have a responsibility to, this little light of mine.
Yeah.
You're going to let it fucking shine, man.
That's a good, I love
God,
get a goddamn t-shirt made of that. I think you said that very early on.
Yeah.
Did you say that very early on?
Actually, I think we had we maybe had a post that was this little light of mine.
Yes.
And then I think a Buck Up Buttercup or something.
Yes.
We should bring that back.
We should.
Okay, let's got a little deep there, which I think is great.
I love the deep.
But there's a couple people who want some tea.
Okay.
So we going to give them some tea.
I don't even know what the hell that means.
You haven't heard about the tea?
Tea?
Okay, everyone out there, this is it. This is why I love this woman.
I'm not.
No. Okay, we're going to leave it at that.
The slang, and I have 2 teenagers.
When you're spilling the tea, have you heard the Taylor Swift song At Tea Time?
Oh, yeah.
It's me,
yes.
I'm the problem.
I jammed on it on the way over
When
here.
she sang At Tea Time, it's, let's spill the tea.
Oh.
So, Gretchen, that was literally, I think.
It's very.
Yeah. So people want to know, what have we fought about? And what are our, you can't be perfect. Business relationships are hard, right? So spill it. If you had to say the thing about me, I know there's more than one that drives you crazy.
Yeah, of course.
But if you had to, right. Hello, there's the laugh, you little bitch. Yeah. The habit or trait of mine that just makes you want to tackle me in an alley.
Well, it's a twofold. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Right, which most things are.
Yes, of course. So you are very good at speaking, the whole Skip story. You went in there, talked to Rusty. The shit that just flew out of your mouth would be something I would write down, and have to really work on prior to. That is amazing when it comes to being my business partner.
Right.
You're very good at, you have a business bow that you tie on things, that you speak very intelligently, and you have a way with words. But then you're dealing with me, and I'm an emotional, sometimes I am ADD, and I've done a lot of research on ADD, and it's the processing that I have to take a little bit more time to process how I want to say something.
Which is fair.
Yes. Yeah. And it's it doesn't come out. So if we're in a conversation and I want to do one thing and you want to do another thing, you're on the other spectrum of that, the other end of it, then I want to you can, at the end of the conversation, I'm like, well, shit, damn, how I lose those conversations.
Wait, we're in Mexico.
I know. I'm like, damn it. Like, I don't know. I don't have anything to say well yet, and then I go home and I'm like, I should have said this.
Bitch.
I should have said this, and I've already signed this. Now she's got me
We're
in
already
this.
halfway down the path.
Damn it. Like, we've already done this. And so I prefer to be like, okay, let me think about that. How I want to go. You're very good at business, and it's like you have this way that I can't get around the conversation. I can't win the conversation.
Okay, so my question would be, because I am an introspective human.
Yes.
And you are one of the most important relationships in my life. And I always want it to be that way, no matter what.
Agreed.
So how could I serve you in a way that's would make you feel more heard, or that I'm waiting? Because I get it.
Yeah.
But again, there are decisions that need to be made, and things that need to happen, and business goes fast, and it's, so I'm not trying to be condescending, dismissive, but I know I could probably come off that way. So how could I make you feel?
That's a good question. I would say maybe if and don't get me wrong, I love to check off a list too. I do being let's just get going with this. Because I think where I want to go faster on, you want to go slower on, certain things. I feel like that's just our balance, and it's probably good for the long run. But whoever wants the train to keep running, you're like, oh my God, let's just cross this off. Yeah. So, but I guess in certain circumstances, bigger decisions, I like to be like, all right, well, let's think about this. And then let's come back and let's, whether that's even a day, a week, because then I feel like we can even ask, some people, and and then that way I have my
I agree. Any big decision we should be sitting on for a moment.
Do.
Yeah.
But I feel like I even I was prepped for that one recently. You were you wanted to do maybe some of those, what were we calling pop-ups? Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't sure on it, because I was like, oh God, all the amount of money for the weights and all that stuff, is that worth our while? But I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't imagine it. Yeah. I'm a visual person, so I need to be on board with imagining it, feeling it, have the scary excitement. And I was we were going to meet on that, and then I was ready, because I was not that I wanted a yes or a no, but then I had my facts ready. Yeah. And then I was ready to and then I could process it. And then I actually even looked up some information. I have to be prepared at all angles with you.
Oh, 100%. But you want that.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But you're right. And that situation with the pop-ups, I felt you. I think you and I are both trying to figure out, where else do we fit in Columbus? Where do these, and I think we're figuring that out. Yeah. So, side note, if anybody knows of any spaces in Columbus,
yes,
we're open.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's very fair. And again, my strength, when we did the strength assessment, is command, my number one strength. And that hit me. Yeah. It struck me. It didn't surprise me at all, but, and there's some ways I'm proud of that. But then in some ways you have to be very careful with that. And anybody's strength really, but if your strength is command, that speaks, right? So I have to be very aware and very respectful and cognizant of all of the angles happening, and not just want to push through, which I think I've gotten way, I don't think I'm.
Well, I think we all, Jason Barger did that for us, that retreat. And honestly, Jason Barger, really, that was huge. That he did a great job with that. And what I loved about it is because honestly, when you see your strengths, the whole test is called strengths. Yeah. But when he was bringing it to our attention, every strength has a weakness. Right. Keri, you're a command. This is why it's amazing. This is where you need to watch out. Doing this. And then same thing with everything I had, every strength of mine. My number one was a wooer.
We've worked on that though.
I know we have. And I love, honestly, that was one of the best. I just told this to somebody the other day. I was like, that was one of the best things I've ever taken, is that strength finder test, because, feeling like being an empath, I used to think was feeling so much emotion. Sometimes I felt like was a weakness. And when he was like, no, but Gretchen knows how everybody's feeling around this table. That is like, she feels what they're feeling. Like she can read body language about all that stuff. I was like, oh my God, it's a strength. I never even thought about it because I honestly didn't ever understand. And I didn't like when I'd get feel an emotion that I was like, why am I getting so like, I'm going to let this emotion's going to get in the way of my argument. You know, and I didn't like that. It can, and I still try to really work with that. But it is great to know like how your strength, because I think growing up, you just think these things are strengths. And I didn't even realize what those strengths were, you know, but I think at the end, you think these things are strengths. And I loved hearing that, like the weakness side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's the weakness side of being a wooer. We just like people to like us.
Well, that's a problem in business.
It is a problem in business.
And I read Gary V's his book. I think it's his latest book, because you know everybody loves Gary V, and I do too. I follow him and I respect him a lot. But I read his book, and I liked how it just was very simple, like the ingredients, and it was he boiled it down for like the common person. But the one thing he did say, which I was glad to hear, is that kindness has gotten him in trouble, and that kindness he has to harness it, because he avoids conversations and he avoids the hard stuff.
That's me, yeah.
Well, I will say,
it was me.
So we'll tell this story.
Yeah.
You know, as we were growing up in SOS, I was the bad cop. I would have the hard conversations. And you, though, on the other end, would want the respect of the team. Yeah. And you would get very frustrated and emotional as to why you weren't feeling that was happening. Yeah. And I remember the one time where I was like, Gretchen, you have to have these conversations with people and you have to hit them head on. You don't go around, because what you would like to do is, because you're a wooer and you're amazing. But when a business conversation's taking place and you have to deliver tough news, you would go like here's the street to get there. You'd go around the block, and then you'd stop at the 7-Eleven. Then you'd go visit it would take like you
breaking up with someone and saying, call me.
Yes. And so I remember I finally just said, if you want to have the respect of the team, you have to have these conversations. And I'm going to give you claps.
Thank you.
And it's taken you, it's a muscle that you have to build.
Yeah, it is.
And for me, and I think there'll be a post coming out, because I talked about this in our latest video shoot. Do I like confrontation? No.
Yeah.
Would I rather sit and talk about, blowing smoke up each other's ass and unicorns and rainbows? Yeah, I would. But when you have a business to run and the greater good of the business is the focus, you have to be able to confront these tough conversations, and it's not fun.
No, it's not. And honestly, one thing I wasn't prepared for, or didn't know I wasn't prepared for when we started this business, is you had already been a manager. I had never done that. And so like I was a friend first. And again, like I thought that would bring respect of like, what? I'm nice to you. No. Like, and it doesn't. No. It's you have to be a manager at times. And I have learned that it's actually helped me with like parenting. It sounds crazy, sure. But I told you the other day, I literally had the same conversation that you had with me, with my husband. And cause he won't give consequences. He won't, say the tough, really punish at all. He like can say stuff, but they know he's never going to do anything about it. So I said, a long time ago, Keri told me that I need to have these tough conversations or else they're not going to respect me. And I had to, pull out your one-liner.
Well, I'll tell you, I had my dad to look up to. And my dad, it's not a secret that he was, a pretty successful business guy. And the one thing that he would always say is, you can't worry about people liking you. You want them to respect you and respect and trust what you're doing. Yeah. If they end up liking you, that's a bonus. Yeah. You want to be,
and that's so hard for me.
It's hard for me. Like it's not something that I love. Like I told
no one
you,
wants to be hated.
Right. Well, no, and like I told you, I think there's some voodoo dolls of me. We know, I know, and it's because I've had a tough conversation because I had to handle something. And so people can't handle that sometimes. And so do I like that? No, I'd rather be friends with everyone. Yeah. I'd rather have it be all kumbaya, but you can't run a business that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I know. And I've gotten way better at like doing it. And here's the other thing too. I figured somebody posted on this one time, and the words have never been more truer to me. And honestly, like our like relationship, like I don't think I would think I was more agreeable at the beginning because, well, A, I think that stuff was just easier to agree on. And then B, I just was like, I didn't want to like go head to head with you. I didn't want to like, that stirs my stomach. You know, a conversation like that stirs my stomach. But even like as with our staff and as we've grown and all that stuff, somebody one time said the lines on a post and I was like, that's it. That makes so much sense to me. If you don't want to have the hard conversation, you're deciding to like not do the battle or like dodge the battle.
Well, you are.
But then the war is bruised in your head
Mm-hmm.
for a month. So if I don't want to have a hard conversation for 20 minutes, but then like the consequences of that are 20 days in my head thinking about it, losing sleep, like stirring my stomach. Why didn't I say this? Like this is still continuing because it doesn't get rid of anything. You know, It's the same stuff is, you know, happening that you didn't have the balls to say something about.
Yeah.
And so after thinking about that, that's what I think every time is I think about that. I'm like, okay, I don't want 20 days of hell in my head. And it can be scary in there.
Oh, I can only imagine. mine's no different.
This shit turns. Yeah, so does yours.
Okay, I've got another one.
Okay.
More tea.
Tea. I'm going to use that this week.
Okay, somebody wants to know how we feel about other studios opening or what's the like craziest thing someone's ever done to us.
Ooh. Like a competitive like brand or
I mean,
something.
you know what? I've got the
know.
answer.
All right, give me.
The craziest thing that a trainer's ever done? Like the word like that has left?
Yes, yeah. Are you saying like the one that like
The plagiarism?
Yes.
Yes. We got to go there.
It's
if
well,
they're
yeah,
asking.
that's I mean,
We won't say names.
no, yeah. You don't think this is the problem also with being a wooer. It like it tightens you up when you're like, when I'm trying so hard to be people's friends and stuff like that, and I see the best in people, and I don't think that's an issue. I still want to see the best in people, but some of the stuff people do, you're like, I can't believe that's happening. You're like, I can't believe that happened.
This one was a big, to this day, still like you think about it and you shake your head. You're like, what is going on with people?
Well, they stole like our entire eating program, and we would always put our people on it, and like so we always liked for the trainers to have that stuff for free. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's nice and a nice benefit.
There we go, being nice again.
If they
And you just ripped it right
let
off.
me woo you a little
Here,
bit.
hold on. Let me just take all of your stuff and just not change one word and
she
sell it.
said she liked it, all these things, and then like she ended up selling it to a business that some of our trainers were at.
Oh no.
Well, the first time. That's how it was busted
Oh.
the first time. So the first time she was selling that program to a place that like she worked at.
Got it.
And they see this program come through, and so another trainer brought it to us and was like, I know this is your program. She like switched 2 words in it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think she switched any. So when it got on my radar, and then you and I are like, son of a bitch.
Well, we had confronted her.
Yeah, I sat down with her.
Yeah.
Remember?
I didn't. I was still wooing.
Well, this is when you were wooing. So I sat down with her, and she
fairness,
was like,
I was on vacation.
yeah. So then when we were on the trail, then I had a friend of mine buy the program,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so here's the first, it's because to me, like either you're really dumb or you're like total narcissist. Like
Yeah.
you to do something like this takes a special person.
But remember, the first time, well, the special part is just to be clear on
Yeah.
it so people understand. It was sold to her company, and we got word of it. We saw it, and you confronted her when I was on vacation, which still like stirred my stomach. And I was like, please don't fire her. Please, like, don't. That makes me feel very uncomfortable. And she probably didn't mean to. She didn't know. She didn't know. You know, I'm like coming up with excuses. I would feel horrible. And then you agreed like to give like some sort of sabbatical situation, and then she comes back from that. So we had already told her that we knew. So this is where you are then.
Right.
Then we see it being sold again online.
Well, so we see this. And so a friend of mine purchased it. And so the first thing that would tip you off if you're her is you probably have 6 people buying your shit, right? 4 of them are your family members.
Yeah.
Then you have this, person coming from, side swiping like, oh, who's this person? So my friend bought it and she gave it to us, and
Word for word.
I mean, God is my witness. Every word, she did not change a word.
Yeah.
Now, the part
being
that bothers
lazy.
me, I need to say this, and I'm happy that I get to just get this out there. The part that bothers me more than any of it is that instead of taking, of course she's not going to take accountability, but she kind of tried to clap back at us like, oh, they had somebody buy the Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. How about this? How about I'm sorry, that was a bad choice. Like I tell Dane, you're making a bad choice.
Own your shit,
Own
Dane.
your shit. Hey, disclaimer to anybody out there, not smart to steal stuff from other people. Just not a good look.
Well, it was and especially after the second time, then I was like, my eyes were a little, like what? My innocent eyes, I was like, what?
How could you? Well, that
person?
that was ballsy.
And then I was pissed. I was probably more pissed this
Well, you went
time.
after it then. Remember the attorney that had some weird name or something?
Well, yeah. Then I stayed up at night just getting her program and comparing and contrasting to ours, because then I was just pissed because she was basically trying to come at us with an attorney and saying
so
like,
good.
well, yeah, well, you put a plant in here,
All right, let's turn the dial here. That's a yeah.
That's a story.
Let's pivot.
Okay.
Okay. So where are you guys opening next? We need more SOS in the world. Thank you.
So we did look in Chicago, and we actually were Chicago's always like haunted us, and like it's been an allure for us. And Chicago and Nashville, as we've always talked about. And we went there, Keri and I, we had it posted, and we were it was actually probably the hardest one I've had to say no to, because not that I felt like it was right, but because I felt like it was the easiest switch over to like getting a studio up and running, because it was a studio, and it had heated lights in it already. It had all these things, lockers. I mean, it was built for almost identical what we need to do. And that's part of the problem, is like the build out and stuff like that. So it was the hardest one to say no to, but I didn't have a good gut on it, and you didn't have a good gut on it. It wasn't the perfect place. I think also taking a place of a studio that is, and it's a very successful studio in many other cities. Taking a place of a studio that is something that, like, not that we do the exact same thing. That's a little nerve-wracking. Why didn't that studio work here in this spot? So
it did open right when COVID happened.
it did. It was a bad lining of the stars for them. But that wasn't, it just wasn't the exact place where we should have opened up in Chicago. And we both knew that. So what we've decided to do is, and we talked about that, we said, you know what, let's go back. Columbus is a bigger city than we're giving it like credit for in our heads. We have 2 places here. We have a place in Cincinnati, or it's not ours, but the franchise group does. And we could go, we have Intel is being built here. There's many areas that we could place another one at. We're going to come back, start back up in Columbus, and then start talking about other areas.
So if anyone has any ideas in the Dublin, Powell, New Albany, Gahanna. But we want a location that's going to kind of hit multiple,
pull
fire
from
on
multiple areas.
So like instead of being tucked away in New Albany, maybe we go a little bit out where we could pull Gahanna, I think Westerville and New Albany. Is that possible? Is there something out
Yeah.
there? Let's just put it out into the universe.
And also put it out in the universe if you want us there, or
yes.
if you don't want us there.
Yes. Get the fuck out. We don't like you.
Yeah, tell us that. We need to know that ahead of time.
You won't hurt our feelings.
You won't. No,
Oh my God.
I can take it now. Now I can take it.
So good. So Gretchen, are you ready for a bang, marry, kill?
Oh God. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I liked this song until you added it to. She knows I hate bang, marry, kill.
I know, but it's really not real. Are you ready for a bang, marry, kill?
Real people?
Yes.
I'm not going to do instructors. I feel like I could get sued for that. If you guys didn't know, I have to reel in Keri with
Okay, give me it. Give me a bang, marry, kill, and I'll do it.
But not with instructors.
Previous instructors that aren't here anymore.
Okay.
Who cares?
All
It's
right.
fine.
All right. Okay. Let's go Ben.
Oh, Ben. Okay.
Brett.
Oh.
And Gabe.
Oh, God. I mean, you're all very nice looking gentlemen. Tall. Oh, God. I'd have to kill Gabe.
Sorry, Gabe.
I don't know. I couldn't marry any of them.
But why are you killing Gabe?
I don't know.
He's got raging ADD like me.
Yeah, I don't know why I'd kill Gabe. It just kind of came out.
He's a nice. Gabe but they're all sweethearts.
I couldn't marry any of them, honestly.
Well, then you're not doing the game. You have to.
I feel like they're like little brothers. You know what I
know.
mean? Like
Well,
you're right. Now that it's on me, the bang, marry,
Exactly,
kill.
yeah.
I'm like, I couldn't bang any of you and I couldn't marry any of you because you're like little brothers to me. I
Yeah.
love them all. I think they're very attractive. I think they're amazing, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
You and me go girl trainers?
Yeah. Maybe I'm a lesbian. Oh, now you got me going. Okay.
All right, so you want me to do girl
Yeah, let's do
trainers?
girls.
All
Who am I
I'll
going to bang? Who am I going to marry? Who am I going to kill?
I mean, do you want me to keep them on staff?
Sure.
I mean, let's
I'll
give
do
it
that.
to the people that won't
Let's do it on
care,
staff.
that
No
won't
one's going to care. They're not. No one listens to this.
Who's our lawyer? Where's our lawyer? All right. Darce, I'm going to throw you in there.
Oh, yeah.
Steph, I'm going to put you in there. And Kimmy.
Oh, God.
Those are three people that I don't
think I'd
think
bang
would
them
care.
all. I'd bang them all.
You're cheating the game.
I would bang all of them. They're hot.
I know
all of
they
them.
are.
Who would I marry, though? I couldn't marry Kim because Kimmy is running around all the time doing shit. And I'd be like, Kim, I want to stay home. And then we would fight and we would get a divorce.
Oh, yeah. She's, I don't know how she has the energy to do anything.
I don't know. Between Steph and Darcy, they would fucking kick my ass daily. I'd probably marry Darcy, maybe. I wouldn't kill Steph, though. Maybe I'd just have an affair with Steph.
She's cheating the game, by the way.
I'm massaging the game. Massaging the game.
I don't know if you and Darce could be married, though.
No, probably not.
I know. I don't know who you'd be best married to out of that group. I'm trying to think of because you don't want to be exactly like each other, but you want that balance. I don't know. I think you're going to get eaten alive by Steph and Darce.
I would have no chance.
And then you can't keep up with Kim.
I just want an excuse to just keep hitting this button.
This is such a great song. I really, this was one of my first CDs I ever got, and I tricked my dad into buying it because, of course, it was Two Live Crew, and I couldn't buy it. So, but my first CD ever, I do like this song. I want to know first concert, first CD from you, one of the two, if not.
First concert, Menudo.
Oh my God, that's an amazing. How do I not know this yet?
Oh no, I was in a Menudo commercial.
What?
Because I was in Florida and they were doing a Pepsi commercial at this amusement park, and so we had to be in the background. They were speaking Spanish, and then at the end we had to go Pepsi and hold up the. But it was like a group of people that they just picked from.
Oh, I was in a commercial for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I came out of the theater.
Stop.
Yeah, and I did Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go, Go, Go Ninja. So
that wasn't that's funny. That wasn't a concert. My first concert was Let's Go All the Way. Let's Go All the Way. Oh, what was her name? Sitting in the thinker.
I know what song it is, but I can't
it
know.
out.
Mike Dusseau.
There's a traffic jam of the brain.
Because it's an 80s thing, right?
Makes you want to scream and shout. Oh my God, what is it?
Let's go all the way.
Let's go all the way.
Let's do a little chime.
Go all the way. Let's go all the way. What was their name?
I thought that was a boy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a boy.
Let's go all the way.
Mike Dusseau, if you're listening in, please text us. Text Mike.
Oh wait, speaking of Steph, Steph just sent a text. Are you still podcasting? Yes, we are. What's it like trusting the trainers with your moneymaker, your product? Like, how do you internalize letting others deliver what you made? That's
a great question.
God, that's a really good question, because I will say, if I have to look back on SOS and the processes and the growing pains, the process of this right here, of scaling the product, figuring out how it was going to be delivered, that was a very, very difficult task. And I remember thinking, this is going to be the death of us. I pulled back and I was like, there are enough cooks in the kitchen, because my ego isn't centered on that part like yours is. Mine's centered in a different place. So I pulled back and I'm like, you guys need to work this out. And if you need me, I'm here. And everybody's passion, because Matt Wyan has Matt Wyan's way. Darcy has her way. You have your way. And man, that was just a bloodbath for a while.
Well, so people know, when we started out, we would train them not just how to deliver this class, but how to create the class. So everybody got to create their own class,
which was not sustainable.
It wasn't. And how we figured this out, I don't know if you remember this. You and I we told all the trainers, because we kind of wanted to go around and see how they were doing. And we were going to drop in, and it was called a Kick My Ass Contest, which is such a great name. And it was who could kick our ass the best. And then we realized that the variety of what people were delivering in the mix was crazy. And so what we did is create blueprints, that golden rules of these classes that had to take place, like, because some people are throwing burpees in a control, and we just said and we've tweaked even the blueprints since then a little bit, just to tighten it a little bit, but those blueprints for the most part have been golden. Like, they actually still carry on. But then as we went to franchising, we are starting to franchise, and we said the only way we could do that is if we start having the workouts written and given, and it's easier to train people. This is the workout. Everybody's getting the same, even though we can have different writers, everybody's delivering a similar style. And then what happened was first of all, the first upset was the trainers that were used to writing their own workouts, because everybody had their own style, was pissed.
Yes.
We're pissed. And so we had to kind of go through that situation where everybody wanted to write their own. It was a creative outlet for a lot of people. But then we had to say, then you could write some of these workouts. But what happened was, then we write these workouts, and then there was an editing for the format, but then I pushed hard on it needs to be edited, like it needs to be tested, and it needs to be edited as if making sure it's all flowing correctly, all that stuff. It basically, we're tasting the recipe before we send it on. And that's when some people were saying, would kind of push back. It was a pushback.
Yeah. And I will say that, going back to what you and I talked about before, about having tough conversations and about tackling those things, this is an example of, we hit this head on and we didn't stop until we found the solution, because this is where the magic happens. It's hard. And so I will say, sitting here today, I'm so proud of the team collectively, because I know how passionate you are and how passionate they all are, and kind of the conflict that happened. I felt like I was kind of watching the playpen. Yeah. Everybody's in the sandbox trying to, pull their weight. But what has come out of that is just this, it's I'm so proud of everyone, and I'm so proud of the product. And to answer Steph's question a little more directly, for me, and I think you'll agree, I think the level of respect and trust that we have for this team is just, it's immense. You know, from Steph to Matt to Kim to Darcy to all the trainers, they are first and foremost amazing human beings that have proven time and time again that they are badass. They have the right mindset. They care about the right things. And that's the foundation, right? When you have people like that, you don't let them go.
And just so people know, those are your editors, right?
Yeah, the editing team.
Yes, the editing.
So that makes it easier, Steph, to answer your question, that you guys are so great. And, you know, Steph, she's brilliant and she's so smart. And I love taking her classes because she's tempered and kind of a bitch, but we like that. Sometimes
She
you might want to dial
me.
that down a little bit. Okay, it's about a 6. You may want like a 4, 4.5.
No one talked to me when we're in Steph's class, because when people start talking to me, when it's like when a teacher, someone's talking to me in a class, she'll be like, "Guys, it's not coffee time."
No, she's scared.
And I'm like, "Don't talk."
Her and Darcy together, forget it. I'm gonna crawl under my plate. But anyway, in all seriousness, she's so brilliant, and I love listening to her. I love listening to her give a class because she just has credibility and she knows what she's doing. Everyone does, but
her certifications and the muscle and the body is just amazing. And she talks about it when she delivers
that's
the
what
class,
I love.
and it's amazing, and you understand it. It's like a doctor explaining to you like your illness. It's like she's explaining to you so well and in such an amazing way, so you understand it, why you're doing what you're doing and how it's working it.
And so I think it's you guys really, Darcy, Matt, Kim, Steph, all the trainers, all the staff. You know, when I'm sitting here thinking of you, I can see your faces and watch you in the studio. And I couldn't be more, I'm humbled and proud and so grateful for everyone to continue believing what we're doing. This caliber of people that we continue to get at SOS, it blows my mind.
Well, I remember, well, first of all, so you know too, like the best part about these workouts in the end is we do get, that's the editing team. They're going to like line up the schedule of what kind of muscle we're working on what day, which was another addition we had to work on. And then they're also then editing like these workouts. So they're not just the writers. We have people writing and then they go through that with them. So a lot of the other trainers are writing as well. And that's a great way that they can be creative with it. But I will say the best part is kind of like how we get trainers on board. We don't look for a personality style because, of course, like what you want from a class and somebody leading you doesn't mean that's what I want.
Right.
And so we have different personalities within the trainers, and the same thing with the writers. It's like we have these blueprints holding everybody to a certain style and a certain golden rules. And then there's different styles within. I can take a class and know exactly almost always who wrote it based off of the style. But that's the best part, is it adds this variety within the golden rules.
Who's your favorite personally? Who do you like to go to? Who's your favorite trainer? For your own personal style.
A lot of, now in fairness to say this, like if you're teaching at nighttime, I don't get to go to you a lot.
Yeah.
Because like I wake up to teach my classes early in the morning. So I'm going to take more of the early morning trainers. I mean, I really enjoyed your style. Like Keri Croft's style was like right up my alley.
Now you're going to get people trying to come get me off the bench.
You should be
out of
off the
retirement.
bench.
Smoking the cigs.
That bitch just wants us to beg her.
That's what, it's all reverse psychology. Hey, I'm putting a pole in the water.
Although I do like it. And we will go into you being my UFC coach. Remember my?
Oh yeah. Let's do.
But I will say that wait. Now you took my ADD elsewhere. Am I on the Steph question still?
Well, hey, welcome to my world, everyone.
Oh, shit.
Welcome.
She like put a shiny thing up in front of me.
I was asking you who's your favorite trainer?
Oh yeah. Oh, style. Okay, so that is, I need some upbeatness. Well, it's hard. Honestly, I thought I wanted somebody more upbeat on on a regular basis, like somebody who hypes me, and like can like go up and challenge me. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Which they all do.
They all pick on me. Some of them.
No one picks on me because I know it's just not. I just sit back there like
amazing, by the way. But Keri like literally acts like she is not hearing them. And I had to tell Ben once, I was like, you have to stop trying to pick on Keri. The whole class is never going to listen to you again because she doesn't then do what you're telling her to do. And he kept trying to pick on you to make you do it. And I was like, no one's going to do what you want them to do anymore because they're going to question if they actually have to because you keep trying to get Keri to do something. But, and they know I'm going to like push myself to do it. I don't know. Sometimes I throw up the middle finger anymore. Kimmy always picks on me. I have to throw my middle finger up to her. But anyway, the style, I will say, honestly, like it's funny because I thought I like needed a hype man all the time, but then Steph is not as hype-esque as she is, but I love like the information she gives with everything.
And she has a good voice.
She has a good voice, and every once in a while she'll throw out a woo, and you're not expecting that. She's like, "Woo, this is hard," and it makes me giggle, But like so I've learned to like really enjoy all things. Matt Wyan, completely opposite from me, but I haven't gone to one of his classes in a while because he doesn't teach as much. But and he 7 a.m. Matt on Saturday, I ain't doing that.
William just has a special place in my heart,
and he can get away. And I want to work for him, so I want to like he doesn't pick on me, but I want to work hard for him.
Come on, front row. That's great. Let's go second row. Yeah. All right, third row. I love how he goes to all the rows and he just is like hyping it up.
And honestly, and that's the thing, I want to work hard for everybody. So I have, and a lot of times I'm there, you can't help but like start like evaluating how they're training you and evaluating the class, like, or at least I do because I'm, that's just my mindset. I've got a little like, my OCD, if I have any, is like in fitness. So I think and live it and like love it. And so when I'm in it, I'm like kind of thinking about everything they're doing and everything. Not that I'm not to be worried when I'm in your class, but I can't help. But honestly, I mean, they all blow my mind.
They're all like, really great.
Darcy is a different style than me, and I want to work hard for her. And I enjoy. Who's our dancer? Like there's Trummer always had some great hype, and he'd sing and dance, and like, I love everybody's style. Like I do. They bring the best out of me.
I will say just a plug for all of our trainers and for anyone who hasn't tried SOS, and you're like, what's this place all about? You're not going to get anything other than an A player. They're so good, and I'm so proud of everyone. And it's just consistent across the board, and it's taken a long time to get there, but man, it's just awesome to walk in. And I consider I'm an unofficial quality control. That's my when I come to the classes, and I used to have a lot to say. Oh, yeah. And now I literally am like, this is legitimately a well-oiled machine, and everyone is just, our yogis are just, shout out to Grady and Emily and all the they're just Ashley.
And those are two different styles. So that just
they're
shows
amazing.
You. But it's honestly because we allow people to be authentic to who their personality is. They do it well. And so anybody who's being authentic, they're going to motivate me in their own way.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't, Nicole had been with us. She's been with us for like 6 years. And I finally got to go to one of her classes the other day because I got my ass up at 5:30 a.m. to do a class before mine.
That's impressive.
And so I didn't, I know. I realized I wasn't working out if I didn't do it before my own class. And so I took her class, loved her style. And it's completely different. It was a high and tight, completely different than Kimmy's and Darcy and Steph, but I loved it. And it's so I will say, I know people have their favorites. Everybody picks their favorite trainer and kind of just.
And that's okay.
And that's okay for sure. And
it's like a hairstylist or a masseuse. You have your favorites based on personality style or just vibage, pheromones.
Exactly. But you will find a style out there, But we are, and to finish Steph's question, I'm going to take the long way around
again,
this
guys,
block.
we just went, now we're at the 7-Eleven, and
back.
now we're visiting Grandma, and we'll be back around here around 7 p.m.
I'm going to tie a big bow, ADD bow on this story.
I love you. I do. I love you.
I love you,
I really
Paul.
do. It's amazing.
But I will say, like, honestly, I do. It was hard to obviously have the whole battle of like, wait, no, let's have this in the workouts. No. That's too quick of a transition. We need to have a rule on that. Like, I don't want that quick of transitions for control and blah, blah, blah. We'd go back and forth. At the end, however we've ended it all together, I know I am actually very much at peace with like all these workouts. I know that there's writers that I don't even know that are writing, but I trust and love everybody. It's this whole handing over of like, and I think the reason it is because the people we have on board, they care.
Yeah.
And when I say they care, I mean, even our front desk, it's not just like the trainers, it's the front desk staff.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's amazing what people give. And I think a lot of it is because this is also their passion. They were honored to have these people who work other jobs.
Yeah.
But they are passionate about this place. They're passionate about fitness. And we're honored to have them live out their passions here. And they care about it. And the stuff that we see on like our communication channel and everything, you can tell they care.
100%.
And so honestly, it was scary at the very first when we tightened things up and changed things and write them down. And we, had to like come to a place of, what's the word I'm thinking about?
I don't know. I just blacked out.
Anyways,
I did.
Steph,
I just
trust
blacked
the
out.
shit out of all of you.
Guys, you're getting a glimpse of our dynamic.
Oh
like
my
I love.
God.
That's why we're doing that. This isn't going to be don't worry, guys. This is going to be. We're going to call it the G spot, and
Thank
Gretchen's
you.
going to make
Thank
a
you.
cameo. This is not the last you're going to get of this. We're going to take one more question because we have to go. We have a meeting.
And we have to do our UFC.
Okay, but we're going to take one more. I do think this is important to address because we get this all the time, and people always want, again, the tea on how we feel about other studios or if somebody opens something. And so I do want to go on record with this.
Okay.
I'm a huge believer in success is infinite and that everyone deserves to live out their dream. And so you and I think, have always walked the walk in terms of, we'd have so many people come in and just want to maybe dish on CrossFit, or they'll say, oh, I was at Orange Theory, but, and they'll kind of lead it to you to kind of want to jump in and talk negatively about. And that's just human nature.
Yeah.
And that's not what we do. So in my mind, CrossFit is just to be admired and respected. I mean, they've created an amazing community. Is it my cup of tea? Sometimes, like I've done it a couple times, but okay, I love CrossFit. I love everything they do. They're great. Orange Theory, same thing. They've done a great job. We don't talk negatively about other places. It's too hard. Okay. And everybody's in it together and it's just too hard. Other people will do that to us. That's fine, but we're not going to do that. Now, addressing the component of what if somebody leaves you and goes and opens a studio or whatever? My answer to that is, what is your intention?
Yeah.
So example, you've got an old trainer, Jamie, who came back to Columbus and opened the Legree House. I fucking love Jamie. And her husband's smart as shit. They're doing a great job. She went about it the right way. She has her niche and I love it for her, right?
She called us, like
She was great.
to her. Yeah.
She's awesome. Now, you have other situations where the intent may not be so pure. So you have people who maybe are sitting in a coffee shop doing a SWOT analysis, like, what are SOS's strengths, weaknesses, and our opportunities and threats? And then you want, and you're, it's very obvious to see that you're trying to, your intentions are not great. So again, do your thing because it's hard.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is until you get in it, like if you see us from afar, you're like, oh, they're probably, rolling in the dough and they're doing, this is a hard thing to do every single day. It's amazing. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's not easy. So that to me, I'm like, see, it's not easy. So I am all about anyone doing whatever it is that they were called to do. I would never be one to to think that that was bad, but what is your intention, right? If you're going to start something, start it because you have a passion and you're doing something that you love and you're moving forward. You're not trying to take down or be negative about someone else.
Well, I think a lot of people, it's kind of like a breakup, right? Like, we don't have ill will with anybody that, but I think some people that are breaking up with you, it's human nature to try to create drama and create a fight that's not there, and be pissed or say something, and there would be a lot of people that, not a lot actually, but a couple people that left, and it's like, are we
fighting?
Are we in a fight? Like, are you pissed at us? Like, what happened? And there is no thing there. It's probably just easier to be that way.
Right. You're right.
Back in the day, breaking up in like high school or middle school, it's like, it's easier to break up with making up a fight in your head, versus like somebody who's not been a bad boyfriend or girlfriend,
right.
Like
Wait, were we dating?
Are we? We're
Did
dating.
I break your heart? Yeah. I'm sorry.
But it's just like, so I don't like that. Honestly, I do believe highly and don't talking shit about other people's business. Like, you don't talk bad about it. There's enough. Just because somebody else has success does not mean that you are
can't.
failing.
It doesn't mean that you can't.
Exactly. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't apply to anything that is where your success or or failure will go. So I hate that, like, when people like have to create drama and create a fight. Like, to me, we've tried to pair up with people next to us and things like that.
Yeah.
There's
Together we are stronger. I feel like if any brand lives that, it's us.
Yeah. And then I also don't think it's smart to try to just like replicate a business, because at the end of the day, you've always said, like, respect the hustle. It will never authentically be you. Mm-hmm. You have to do something. If you're doing your own business, like, you have to do something that's authentic to you. And so the best way to like get the most successful business is to do something that is within you and what you thought of.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it, guys.
Are we going to do the UFC question? I do want to
go for
that.
it.
Okay.
This is how we'll wrap.
This is a great
what
question.
my bull wants, my bull gets.
Thanks. I love a good deep talk, by the way.
I know you do. That's how you get excited with Mike's deep talks.
I do. This is
I know you so well.
I want to only deep talk with Mike's now. This is an amazing
it's so
addition.
Good. It's so good.
But I
No, Mike, you're Mike.
Oh, my. He hates when I deep talk him.
I'm like, Mike, listen, Mike Dusseau, if you're listening, candles, music, deep talks,
and a microphone.
You're gonna get some. You're gonna get some.
He hates when I deep talk him, so I have to give Keri some deep talks. But I enjoy the question. I created this question the other day. What song would you walk out to for a UFC fight? You're fighting. And then who would be that one person in the corner that would be your coach? But why? And I told Keri, I was like, I chose you because I need somebody to hype me up, but to believe in me just as much as I believe in myself, but also kind of tell me how it is, pull my ponytail, slap me a little bit, but like also like high five me at the same time. You've got that great combo of all that stuff.
That's like I know it's funny, but that's a huge compliment to me.
It should be.
It really is.
If somebody said I was their UFC coach, I was like, oh my God. That means that not only like are you a good person that like can coach somebody up and take them from like, like a not getting their ass kicked, but also like the way they do it, the way they hype you, the way that they can like kind of get you out of the trenches, you know?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I have to think about what mine, because you would be on my top 5.
But I won't be insulted if I'm not there because everybody sounds different.
I wouldn't humor you. I think you would be in my top 5 though, but I have to visualize me in the ring and like who that person would be.
Because there's some people that literally would like more of a subtle person. I'm not going to be subtle for somebody.
What about Corey and Dustin from Old School Gym? Those two.
I've never totally.
They'd be like, wake your ass up.
They haven't like
get up.
But they could go.
No, they might be too.
They might go too like boxer on me. You know, like there's a difference. I need to also.
No, I'm thinking for me. I know you. So you've already chosen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry,
What's
sorry,
this?
Corey and
What's the song?
Oh, my song is. I mean, I love the Southpaw beat.
I'm a
Beast.
beast.
Yeah, Beast. I love. That's just a great song. There's another Beast song too. I forget who sings it, but there's two Beast songs, and their beat is amazing. I'll give props to one Corella brought into my life, and the other one Darcy found. And
Interesting.
I remember them to this day, hearing them in class and being like, "Oh my God, I could jump to the ceilings right now with this song," and them hyping me up and so they just kind of speak to my soul.
I like that. I don't know, like Down with the Sickness, I would think, how it has that real slow, and he's like, oh shit. Wah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But now, I would have a couple of like pretty.
And the question is, like, are you trying to intimidate the other person, or are you trying to speak to your soul, or
I think I have a natural intimidation. I think it's speaking to my soul.
Yeah, for me, I'm just all about like hyping me up at that moment. But my husband said his song coming out would be like trying to mind screw the other guy and being like, that song, why can't we be friends?
Well, he also wanted to be a prison warden. So
that's true. Oh my God.
All right. So Bull, we have discussed a lot here.
Yes.
I think my overarching sentiment is I am, whatever brought us together in the universe, I am eternally grateful. And
we didn't even speak how we came around to each other.
We have time. This is, I don't want us to feel like we have to this is the one podcast and done. I have the equipment now. I have, the 10
G-spot
subscribers
title.
and the G spot is going to happen. But I do just want to thank you for being, you've been such an important part of my 10 years. I wouldn't
give me those hands.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Give me those hands. I love you.
I love you, Bull.
I love you.
All right, folks, that wraps up the first episode of Gretchen and Keri, not the last. Subscribe, will you? YouTube, Spotify, wherever you can find me, so I can have about 18 followers next time. All right, go crush the day. And until next time, thank you for listening to the Keri Croft Show. Kisses.